Okay, so just sit yourself on your left and come into a good cross-legged position. So feel that you're sitting evenly and that there is levelness underneath the seat bones. It's also useful to just draw the buttock flesh out to the side so that you really spread the buttock flesh so that the seat bones come down onto the blocks. And then lift and open the chest. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Keep the shoulders drawing, descending from your ears. So it's like you're smoothing clay from the ear down into the shoulder and all the way down to the end of the arm. Just focus on that downward action of the shoulders. And while the outer line of the upper body is descending, work to lift the chest upwards. So although the shoulders are still drawing downwards, the torso is driving upwards. Just look down at the floor, look at something that's not moving. Keep your jaw soft, keep your tongue soft. Consciously soften the tongue, soften the jaw. And then bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together. Have the fingertips press in firmly together. Lengthen from the armpits into the elbows. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose if you can. And then use in and out breath to allow your eyes to gently close. So spend a moment or two just observing your balance. Pressing the palms of the hands together. Breathing evenly into both lungs. Just listening to the sounds of the breath. Observing evenness. Evenness of the lift of the spine. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Breathing from the bottom of the lungs to the top of the lungs. Filling your lungs evenly. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in your heart area, and then gently release the backs of the hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, just allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Just grip around your knees, lift and open the chest, drive your spine upwards, take a good, strong, deep inhalation. And then turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across, your ribs across, your shoulders across. Listening to the sound of the breath, using the out breath to intensify the turn. And then come back to the center, lift and open the chest, drive your spine upwards, take a good strong deep inhalation in through the nose, and then turn to the left. Breathe in evenly and deeply, turning the abdomen, turning the ribs, turning the shoulders. And then just very gently come back to the center. Just stretch your legs out, stay sitting on the lift and get your belt. And we're just gonna stretch our legs out in front. Now if the backs of your thighs are kind of trapped on your lift, then just shuffle forwards a little so that the backs of the thighs are free to kind of rotate and to lengthen. So have your feet slightly wider than normal, so just about hip width apart, and then throw the belt around your feet. And then have your feet about hip width apart, push the ball joint of the feet firmly into the belt, and then lift and open the chest, almost like you're kind of riding a horse. Lift and open the chest. And then activate your legs. Press the thighs down into the floor. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Feel that the backs of the thighs broaden outwards. Turn the fronts of the shins inwards. Feel the backs of the thighs, backs of the calves broaden outwards. Lift and open the chest. Drive your spine upwards towards the ceiling. So using the foundation of the hips, see if you can elevate the spine up like that tube of toothpaste action. Breathe evenly and deeply. Working the legs really firmly into the floor. So if your arms are up over your head, we would be in dog down. So press the legs, fronts of the legs through to the backs of the legs. Turn the fronts of the legs, feel the backs of the legs rotating outwards. Extend the spine up towards the ceiling. So we stretch ourselves out and we extend into the spine by activating the legs. So the more you focus on the activation of the legs, the more you extend up into the spine. So keep the legs really activated. If you've got a bad back, just stay at this stage. Otherwise, see if you can come forwards, but never at the expense of dropping the front chest so that the back chest starts to round. Keep the front chest long. Keep activating the legs, lifting and opening the chest. Just a little bit at a time, coming forwards, but maintaining the lift of the front chest. So that the back chest, the shoulder blades draw inwards. See if you can find your feet. If you can find your feet, then you can let go of the belt. Press the legs into the floor really firmly. So when you get hold of your feet, it almost feels like the pose becomes self-contained. So then you can really have to work the shins deeply. Hit the fronts of the thighs into the backs of the thighs, even if the backs of the thighs aren't in contact with the floor. Lift and open the chest. Breathe in evenly and deeply. If you can, bend your elbows out to the side, lifting the front chest. So as you come forward, avoid allowing the back to round. That will hurt your back. Keep lifting and opening the chest. Okay, and then just gently release your feet and come forwards. And then just come off your lift and sit back on your heels, big toes together. Your knees are apart. And then come forwards into Adho Mukha Virasana. So just press the shins into the floor, activate the thighs so the femur bones are almost hitting away from each other, and then press your hands into the floor. Push your hands into the floor like you're trying to push the floor away. Try and keep the seat bones down on your heels as you wriggle into the pose, keeping the front chest lifted. And then finally, bring your forehead down. Stretching your arms in one direction and the tailbone in the other. If you remember, on Monday we were just experimenting with Adho Mukha Virasana. We came forwards with the knees together, making it really difficult to root the tailbone downwards, really hard to bring the chest downwards. And then we brought the legs really, really wide apart. And then it's almost impossible to draw the tailbone downwards. It's a lunging action. The weight comes all into the arms. So when we find the right distance for the knees, then we can root the pose at the tailbone, drawing that tailbone down towards the heels, and then extend into the arms. Keeping the arms straight. Breathing evenly, keeping your arms straight by hitting your outer elbows inwards so that the forearms lift up off the floor. Come up onto your knees. Your little finger on the edge of the mat, stretch the thumbs towards each other, turn your tailbone, your toes outwards and as wide apart as the mat, and then come up into dog down. Just work with bent knees initially, just kind of wriggling into the hips a little. Just feel what is happening in your body this morning. Spread the palms, push the heels of the hands deeply into the floor. Keep the heels of the feet away from the floor. Stretch the fingers away from the heels of the hands. Squeeze the outer elbows in. Lengthen from the armpits up into the hips. And then begin to straighten your legs. Tightening your kneecaps. Lifting the fronts of the thighs up towards the top of the leg. Turning the fronts of the thighs inwards so that the backs of the thighs broaden outwards. Turning the fronts of the shins inwards so that the backs of the shins broaden outwards. Lifting up into the legs. Just spend some time in observation, aiming for evenness on both sides of the body. If I'm holding you too long, then just rest down in Adho Mukha Virasana or just bend your knees. Otherwise, stay and maintain a little longer if you can. Just feel that you're elevating upwards away from the floor. So that rather than feeling heavy, we're facilitating our own lightness. And then just step your feet forwards. Come up into a standing position. And then bring your feet hip width apart. Have the outside edge of your feet in line with the mat. Turn your toes in, lift and open the chest. And then raise your arms up, extend your arms up towards the ceiling, hook the thumbs into the crease of the elbows, wrap your fingers around your elbows. And then come forwards, hinging at the hips, keeping your head lifted, keeping your arms lifted as you come down, broadening the abdomen as you come down. Just come halfway. If you've got back problems, just put your arms onto the back of a chair or onto a windowsill or a tabletop. Otherwise, just let the body hang down, activating the legs. So I've been feeling quite stiff this week and I wasn't quite sure why. And it's probably occurred to me that I feel stiff because I started riding my bike again. So I rode several miles every day last week. So it's strange how you kind of just expect your body not to respond to a new form of exercise, isn't it? So we can use our yoga to really ease out the tension, ease out the stiffness. But we have to do the practice with observation and activation and awareness. So lifting the legs, allowing the top of the body to hang down. So like we were doing yesterday in trikonasana, we were working the back leg more deeply in order that the spine can elongate. Just release your hands down towards the floor. Bring your hands into your hips, bend your knees on the way up if you need to, come up into a standing position. So, just stand in tadasana. Breathe in evenly and deeply listening to the sound of the breath. Just feel that how the feet connect to the floor. Feel the train tracks of the feet. Lift the shins out of the ankle socket. Lift the kneecaps up away from the shins. Lift the thigh muscles up away from the knees. Tuck the tailbone in, lift and open the chest. Drive the spine upwards. And then stretch your arms forwards, interlock the fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then raise your arms over your head. Baddangulyasana. Just see if you can feel that rather than gravity dragging us down, we activate our feet so that we can lift up out of our feet. We defy gravity. Release your arms, swap the interlock of your fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then raise your arms over your head. And then release your arms. Just stand where you're not really thinking about it. Just stand where you just, gravity is kind of doing its thing. Just find your center of gravity. Don't aim to lift. And just notice that mentally the mind becomes kind of duller. Because rather than kind of engaging our brains in our body, our brains kind of tend to just wander, and actually the skin feels like it becomes heavy, doesn't it? So then spread your toes. It's really difficult not to do anything above the toes, when you spread your toes because it activates the feet. So spread the toes, feel the even action of the train tracks. Hit the kneecaps into the back of the knee, turning those knees inwards a little, turning the thighs inwards a little. Activate the shins by hitting them back. Hit the thighs back. Lift up into the chest, drive up into the chest, but keeping the shoulders down away from your ears. Breathing evenly, and just notice how suddenly there's this feeling of lightness, and it starts from the feet. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump the feet apart. Turn your left toes in slightly and your right leg and foot all the way out. And then just let everything flop. Don't do anything. Just let everything release. Just let your arms release. Like gravity, like someone's suddenly switched gravity on and everything feels heavy. And then we're just going to briefly go into it without activating the arms very hard. Stretch the arms out. They can become heavy really, really quickly. And without doing very much else, just come down into trikonasana. Everything feels a bit jelly-like and everything feels heavy. Okay, come back to the center. That's not really what we want. So it's like that gravity is suddenly switched on, but we can activate the feet. So spread the feet. Get the little toe side of the foot to press down firmly by hitting from the outside of the hip down into the little toe side, and then suck up from the feet. So from the feet up into the hips, from the hips up into the chest, from the chest out into the arms. Turn the front leg. So turn the front thigh, turn it from the inside to the outside. Hit the back leg towards the back of the room. Suck energy up from the feet into the hips, and then come over and see if the pose feels different. Hopefully it does, obviously. Lift and open the chest. Feel that you're sucking your energy out of your feet and up into the hips, up into the chest. Breathing evenly, reaching up into that top hand, but don't collapse down into the bottom arm. Stretch from the center line of the spine all the way out into both arms evenly. Come back to the center. Just release your hands for a second. Swap your feet around. Turn your right toes in. And your left leg and foot all the way out. Again, sucking out of the feet up into the hips, up into the chest. And then come over. Keep that back foot really firm. Extending out of the spine into both arms evenly. Just look down as your head over your foot. If it's not, just lift the chest. Draw the front leg buttock bone in. So the front body is lifted. Body is in alignment. And then reach up, come back to the center, bring your feet parallel, and then step or jump the feet back together, and then come back into tadasana. Breathe in nice and softly in through the nose and out through the nose. Now get your belt and just put the belt over your shoulders. So in that pose, I was saying to kind of feel the center line of the spine and then to extend evenly into both arms, and then your arms become lighter. They don't kind of drop, they don't become heavy. So really see if you can stretch from the spine out into both arms evenly. And then when you come over to trikonasana, we kind of turn like a teapot, but what often happens is that everything kind of slams down into the bottom arm and then you lose the top arm. You can keep that feeling of the chest even by evening out the work of the arms. So get hold of the belt and then pull the belt so that it's tight, so that it sits. You don't want it to be higher than your head. You want the belt to kind of sit around your shoulders, and then pull out evenly into the belt. So the belt is in line with your shoulders, and then pull out evenly, pull the belt tightly so that both arms are working evenly. And then step or jump the feet apart, turn your left toes in, your right leg and foot all the way out, and then just come down, but come down like the top arm is working as evenly as the bottom arm. And then come back to the center. It's like a teapot. Turn the right toes in, the left leg and foot all the way out, and then keeping that belt really taut. Come down, find the shin, but keep working that upper arm. And then come back to the center. So let the belt just release for a second. Keep your legs apart, turn your left toes in, your right leg and foot all the way out. Keep working evenly into those arms and then come down, but keep stretching that imaginary belt up into the top arm as well as into the bottom arm. See if you feel any difference. Come back to the center. Keep that feeling of tautness between the two arms, and then come down to the other side. But as you come down, keep the upper arm really extending upwards, extending out from the chest. So it's never a collapsing action into this bottom arm. It's a feeling of tension between the two arms. And then come back to the center. And then step or jump your feet back together. So actually keep the belt there. We might use that again in a moment. Have the inner edge of the feet together, lift and open the chest, drive the spine outwards, upwards. Bring your arms out nice and wide. Feel that you're pulling that belt really firmly so that it opens the front chest. And then step or jump, go wider than normal. Turn your left toes in, your right leg and foot all the way out. And then keep the back leg straight. Get hold of your belt, hold onto the belt really firmly. Keep your back leg straight, bend the front leg, bend into that right angle. Keep the arms taut on the belt. Bring the bottom arm down to the floor for parsvakonasana. Keep reaching up into that top arm. So it's not the full pose, but it's the pose just keeping the chest turning and the top arm lifting. Let go of the belt, turn the palm and then reach over, but keep that top arm this time stretching away from the back foot. Turning the chest. Breathe in softly and evenly. Okay, and then windmill yourself back up. Just put the belt back over your shoulders. Turn the right toes in, the left leg and foot all the way out. And then take hold of the belt, pull it tightly, keeping the belt in line with your shoulders. So tightening that back leg, bending the front leg, finding that right angle and then reach down. Keep those arms taut. Keep reaching up with the top hand, keep the back leg straight and then release the belt, turn the palm to face the left side of the room and then reach over, turn the chest. So now that tautness is from the back leg foot into the upper arm. Straight leg foot into the upper arm. And then come back to the center. Feel as though there's that tautness between the two arms. And then step or jump the feet back together. So parsvakonasana, utthita, parsvakonasana. Bring your feet hip width apart. Turn your toes inwards, raise your arms, hook the thumbs into the crease of the elbows, and then hang down. Use the halfway point if you've got a problem with your back, so just using a chair or a table or just something to rest your arms on, or even the wall if you're protecting your back. Observe the differences in your body. Maybe where it felt stiff or resistant, maybe some of that or all of that resistance has dissipated. Maybe where the body felt heavy, it now starts to begin to feel light. So we stretch out of our tensions. So those are physical tensions or mental tensions. Okay, release your hands to the floor, bring your hands into your hips, and then come up into a standing position, come down onto your knees. And then just lay yourself flat along the floor, fingertips underneath your shoulders, turn your toes under, and then keep your hands and your feet where they are, and then come up into dog down. Just adjust yourself if you're kind of out of line, but try not to walk your hands forwards, your feet forwards. Work with the distance of your body. Breathing evenly and deeply. Can you find that lightness of lift, of facilitating lightness with the muscles? Okay, everyone come down onto your knees. Sit back on your heels. And then just stretch forward into Adho Mukha Virasana. Okay, and then just release your arms, push your hands into the floor, and then come up into a seated position. So just sit. We're going to sit ourselves in Virasana. So sit with maybe a block or two, so that you can sit back down onto your blocks. You can do this in cross legs if Virasana is impossible. We're not going to do supta Virasana. We're going to do gomukhasana. But if you really can't do virasana, then sit in cross legs. But cross legs is different in the way that it helps that you lift your chest. So if you can do virasana, then do. It's a better pose for lifting the chest. Get your hands into the backs of the knees, draw the calves back away from your knees, draw the calves out to the sides, and then sit back on your lift. If you can sit all the way onto the floor, you don't need the blocks, but just do what is comfortable. Do something that feels like something you're going to be able to maintain. So feel that you're kind of evenly placed across the floor to start off with, and then lift and open the chest. Just first of all, stretch your arms out, interlock the fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then raise your arms over your head. Squeeze in the outer elbows inwards. Draw in the arms beyond your ears if you possibly can, but without poking your head forwards or without poking your chest forwards. Stretch into the thumb side. And then release. So we're going to do gomukhasana. So you're going to stretch forwards with your left hand, really extend into that left hand. Spread the fingers, spread the palms. And then turn the palm all the way out. So as you turn the palm, it's the wrist that turns and the upper arm, most importantly, that turns. So we want this rotation. So get hold of this upper arm and turn it from the tricep to the bicep. So you're turning the outer arm around towards the kind of floor, if you like. So that upper arm rotates. Keep that upper arm rotating, allow it to rotate as you keep your arm high. Keep rotating that upper arm in the socket, and then bend your elbow. Stretch your arm up towards the shoulder blade region, trying to stretch the fingers up towards the neck. With the other hand, just assist it up the back using your thumb, or if you can get hold of the elbow, pull the elbow in so that you support that upper arm, and then reach up towards the ceiling with the right arm. Breathe in nice and softly, and then reach down. See if you can get hold. If you can't get hold, then use your belt. So hold on to the belt. So take hold of the fingers. Hook the fingers together, and then try and prise the bottom arm, bottom elbow down, the top elbow up. So really open up the shoulders. Breathe in nice and softly. Feel that you're sitting on, you're probably sitting on the front of your seat bones, but not so much that you're bending the lumbar forwards. So just draw the sacrum just down towards the blocks that you're sitting on a little. Don't overdo it. Just so that there's no over bending in the lumbar. Lift and open the chest, pulling that bottom elbow down, the top elbow up. Breathing evenly, keeping the jaw soft, keeping the tongue soft. After you've been there for a little while, just see if you can creep the fingers a little bit closer together. So if you're not kind of interlocking the hands, if your fingers aren't kind of connecting, then use the belt rather than just struggling with your fingers kind of reaching towards each other. Okay, and then just release that top arm. That's the easy one. Just drop your chest a little, and then just release the bottom arm. Stretch the fingers. Just breathing evenly. So there's a sudden sinus effect, isn't there? The sinuses feel like they open up. Stretch your right hand forward, really spread the fingers, spread the palm. And then again, turn the palm all the way out. But again, it's rotating the top of the arm as well as the hand. Rotate that upper arm in the socket as you reach behind you. Keep rotating that arm in the socket, and then encourage the arm to reach up, the hand to reach up towards the back of the neck. So the hand is in between the shoulder blades. And then reach up, extend it out of the last pose. So don't be in a rush to kind of get into the next part of the pose. Extend out of the first part of the pose and then lengthen the elbow up towards the ceiling and then see, can you take hold? Now today I'm a bit closer, but I'm still going to use my belt just because I'm not close enough. So pull the bottom elbow down, the top elbow up. Breathe evenly and deeply. Keep creeping the hands towards each other a little more. So it's strong in triceps, isn't it? Breathe in evenly, in through the nose and out through the nose. Keep creeping the hands towards each other a little more. Okay, and then just gently release the top arm. And then just, even if you have to drop the chest, release the bottom arm. And then stretch your arms down. Lift and open the chest. Stretch your arms forwards, you can get rid of the belt now. Interlock the fingers, turn the palms all the way out, and then raise your arms up and over your head. Take a good deep in breath, and with an exhalation, turn to the right side. Parsva, virasana. Come back to the center. Take a deep in breath, and then turn to the left. And then come back to the center. Release your arms. Just swap the interlock of your fingers. Turn the palms all the way out. Raise your arms up over your head. Take a good deep in breath. Turn to the right. Come back to the center. Take a good deep in breath. And then turn to the left. And then come back to the center. Release your arms. Release the backs of the palms onto your thighs. Just breathe nice and evenly. Now, after being in virasana for a little while, it's good to do dog down, just a narrow dog down. So just come forwards, just lift yourself up. Your legs may feel like they've seized up a little bit. Don't worry, that's just pretty normal. Bring your hands onto the mat, turn your toes under, however reluctantly they kind of move, and then just come up into dog down, just a nice narrow dog down. And although we normally resist bringing the heels down to the floor, bring them down to the floor just to help you to refresh the action of the legs. And then when you have your legs have recovered, just come down onto your knees and then come down onto your back for supta baddhakonasana. And if you've got a bolster, use the bolster underneath your back. If you don't have a bolster, you can just do supta baddhakonasana along the floor. So you might want a blanket for your head if you're using the bolster. Just sit close to the bolster, pull your feet in towards your knees, so put in towards your seat bones, lift and open the chest, extend your spine along your bolster, and then bring yourself down onto the bolster. Or if you don't have a bolster, just do this along the floor. It's just to ease out any tension in the hips and in the shoulders. Of course, if there's discomfort in your hips, put blocks underneath your thighs. Just breathe nice and evenly in through the nose and out through the nose. So supta baddhakonasana is sometimes a good alternative to an inversion. So with the bolster, it helps to really open the chest, doesn't it? Especially a circular bolster, the shoulder blades are closer towards each other because of the shape of the bolster, and the front of the chest, the front of the collarbone is more open. So just using this pose to just allow yourself to relax into the bolster, in the openness of the front chest, the openness of the hips, which are all good positive actions for igniting the fire of your energy. So it's fine if you want to just go down into shavasana or stay in baddhakonasana, or you can just stretch your legs out with the bolster underneath you. Whichever pose that you choose, just allow the body to let go a little and observe your energetic body rise into the uppermost skin. Okay, when you're ready, just gently draw your knees towards each other and then roll to your right side, and then just sit yourself up into a cross-legged position, just a final cross legs with your hands in the masti, just a final spinal lift. Drawing your breath in through your nose down into the abdomen, conscious of the energy that you've released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions, the forward bends, the twists, the inversions bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then just gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you've really given yourself a good old stretch, and that stretch gives you release for your energy for the rest of the day. So have a great day, and thank you for joining me.